Hello and welcome to Uncensored Conservatism. This is episode number 346, and today we're going to go around the United States and look at some things that may or may not have made the news nationally. And we are going to start out here in Alaska. Now, my wife tells me that Montana is the state that wants you dead, but I think it has nothing on Alaska, where an Italian researcher went missing after falling into a stream on Mendenhall Glacier. This is close to the area where the body of a hiker from Arizona was found earlier in the week. Good news for the folks in Hawaii, as Hurricane Kiko has been downgraded to a tropical storm and continues to weaken. The storm managed to bypass the Aloha State, but churned up dangerous surf along the state's beaches. Governor Newsom of California used his State of the State message to assert that President Trump has a, quote, relentless and unhinged obsession, end quote, with the formerly Golden State. He claims that Trump's policies are creating chaos in an already chaotic state. I kind of think that Governor Newsom has a relentless, unhinged obsession with running for president in 2028. The Idaho Attorney General announced that 4 police officers who shot and killed a 17-year-old nonverbal autistic person will not face any criminal charges. The boy, Victor Perez, was holding a knife behind a chain link fence after allegedly brandishing the knife at people. We caught this guy, the person of interest in the assassination of Charlie Kirk in Utah. I had to unfriend 3 people on social media over comments made about Kirk's death. This is an unfortunate incident and needless death, and something that will resonate in the conservative community for years to come. Amazon's Zoox, that's Zoox, launched its robo-taxi service in Las Vegas, Nevada, offering free rides to anyone willing to use a driverless taxi service that does not feature a steering wheel. One wonders if the voice of the robo-taxi speaks with a foreign accent. Can you imagine these things in New York City? I wouldn't get in it. The former CEO of the now defunct Backpages website received 3 years probation in an Arizona courtroom and was ordered to pay $40,000 in restitution for conspiring to facilitate prostitution by selling sex ads. The judge commended the former CEO, Carl Ferrer, for confessing early in the case and apologizing. Airplane enthusiasts in New Mexico will experience a 5-day tournament of airplane races at the former Air Force Base outside the infamous Roswell. No word on whether any aliens will participate in the competition. President Trump announced that the Space Command will close up its headquarters in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and move to Huntsville, Alabama. This has been a source of contention between the two states, with the former Biden administration favoring Colorado. The body found in Jackson Lake in Wyoming is believed to be that of Wesley Dopkins. He was last seen kayaking on the lake a year ago before he was reported missing. The kayak and a backpack were found at that time, and a private recovery team managed to locate his body at a depth of 420 feet. By the way, if you get to go out there to Jackson, Wyoming, do it. It's beautiful. Michael Paul Brown, the Montana man accused of shooting and killing 4 people in a bar in that state, pleaded not guilty to the charges as more charges were levied against him. Apparently, he attempted to set fire to the bar also to cover up the murders. A decision on whether to seek the death penalty is still pending. And North Dakota, you're just boring. The Kansas Attorney General, Chris Kobach, has sued the Kansas governor, Laura Kelly, accusing her of refusing to turn over federal food stamp applicant data. Kobach followed the lawsuit to compel disclosure of the data. Kelly contends that to do so would violate the privacy rights of over 180,000 Kansas residents. A school bus carrying members of a school softball team crashed in Oklahoma, injuring 5 students and 3 adults. 5 people remain in critical condition. The driver apparently lost control of his bus and it rolled over several times, and that passes for news in Oklahoma. A proposed solar farm in Texas that was supposed to create jobs and bring energy to low-income neighborhoods is in danger after the EPA decided to withhold a $250 million grant for the project. Didn't Texas have a problem with ice and solar energy not that long ago? And come on, man. A campus lockdown at Southern University in Louisiana was lifted, but all events and classes are canceled for the upcoming week. This occurs after several historically black colleges were targeted in an anonymous social media posting. The FBI and Homeland Security are investigating the threats. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders has announced that she will use some National Guard units to assist with ICE immigration enforcement in that state. A total of 40 National Guard members will be deployed to protect ICE agents on raids and arrests. The Missouri House has approved a new congressional map designed to make it more difficult for Democratic victories in the state and specifically targets the district centered in Kansas City. A new law would also require that amending the state constitution be approved by all 8 congressional districts, as well as receiving more than 50% of the overall state vote. And this is the way you do it. This way, like, the big population centers don't decide things. Vance Bolter of Minnesota, the man accused of shooting and killing a state senator, has more legal problems on his hands now. Jenny Lee Bolter, his wife, has filed for a divorce and custody of her child. The grounds for divorce were not revealed, but going out on a limb here, it might be because she married a nut job. Ryan Borgwart of Wisconsin was presumed to be dead after his capsized kayak was found floating in a Wisconsin lake. Not so fast. It appears that he faked his death so he could flee to the country of Georgia to be with a Ukrainian woman he flirted with online. He was later found alive and well and charged with obstruction of justice, but not after his wife divorced him. And it's now been confirmed that Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker is, in fact, Fred Flintstone. A former prison in western Tennessee found new life as an ICE detention center. The facility will be privately run by a company called CoreCivic. Tipton County approved use of the facility last month. That's putting former prisons to good use. A nurse at a clinic in Kentucky had to act quick to save the life of a raccoon stuck in a dumpster. Apparently, the raccoon fell in the dumpster, specifically in fermented peaches from the Moonshine distillery next door. The raccoon was drunk off his ass and in distress, and the nurse performed CPR on the animal and saved its life. Police in Port Huron, Michigan, arrested a father after he shot 3 of his children, killing one of them. The mother and an older sibling fought with the man before police arrived. There were reports of a domestic dispute at the time. I think. A Florida appeals court ruled that the state's ban on open carry firearms violates the Second Amendment. The law was enacted in 1987, and following Supreme Court guidance, the court ruled that there was no historical basis for the open carry ban in the first place. The Florida Attorney General said he supports the decision. A youth football coach was arrested in Georgia after a player suffered an injury during practice. According to some accounts, the kid was not injured playing football, but that the coach pushed him to the ground, causing an injury that required hospitalization. I believe this is the coach's picture here. And incidentally, he was wanted on a warrant out of Atlanta for drug and firearms possession and driving on a suspended license. The United States Supreme Court decided 6-3 not to allow South Carolina to enforce their ban on people choosing the bathroom of their gender identity in public schools. No reason was given for the decision, but Alito, Gorsuch, and Thomas dissented. The court will hear some high-profile transgender cases this upcoming term in October. A state researcher testing water died when he apparently drowned in Turnagain Bay in North Carolina. Or does he have a Ukrainian honey he wants to get to in the country of Georgia? In no surprise, Democrat James Wilkinshaw won a special election in Virginia's 11th congressional district, a Democratic stronghold. The election was to fill the vacancy created when Democrat Jerry Connolly died of cancer. Dozens rallied in Prince George County in Maryland to protest a proposed data center in Landover. The data center is proposed at an abandoned mall, but residents fear its environmental and energy impact on the area. The project has not received final approval yet. And in Delaware, Congress thing, Sarah McBride still has a dick and balls. A Walmart in Pennsylvania will not allow Wesley Silva to bring his emotional support pet alligator into their store. Silva was gifted the animal after he was diagnosed with depression. These things are basically living dinosaurs, and Mr. Silva should just get a nice cat or dog. And New Jersey residents are happy that the pork roll eating contest will return to the state's capital in Trenton. Competitive eating fans are encouraged to register so they can claim a part of the $4,000 in prizes and, of course, the title of Pork Roll King of New Jersey. Rumors are circulating that New York City Mayor Eric Adams may drop out of the mayoral race at some point. Publicly, Adams said he is in until the end. But 3 anonymous city leaders said after a private meeting, he's leaving the option open to exit the race if he feels it is in the best interest of the city. Well, you know who they're going to get. If not, it's going to be that man Danny guy. But well, in Rhode Island, yep, Sheldon Whitehouse, still a prick, but it gets better because in Massachusetts, Elizabeth Warren is just batshit crazy. But in Vermont, Bernie Sanders remains an old, burnt-out communist wannabe. In New Hampshire, several counties in that state are now considered to be in a drought, with a portion of the southern part considered to be in a severe drought. However, last week the state received a drenching rain, but, gotta use something, whatever. Several school principals in Maine are fighting a subpoena from the Department of Justice asking for the names of transgender athletes who have participated in school sporting events in that state. The school officials are saying it would violate the privacy rights of students if they handed over that information. Unmentioned is the privacy rights of females in female locker rooms changing in front of males with dicks and balls. But, alright, anyway, this occurs against the background of sparring between President Trump and Maine's infinitely ugly governor, Janet Mills. Anyway, that's it. Have a great day and a more pleasant tomorrow.